Okay, so you're out there trying to make sense of it all, right? I mean, who isn't these days? Trying to find that clarity, that focus, that balance. And oh yeah, some actual meaning in this crazy, busy life. Well, today we're going deep, not just dipping our toes in.
We are diving deep.
Exactly. We're going to explore some ideas that I think could be really helpful.
You are not here to survive, you're here to live on purpose. My name is Markus Spenger and I'm a high performance coach. And within this show, we're going to reflect on purpose, on clarity, on focus in your life. So enjoy this episode reflecting my content from the 𝗶𝗶𝗴𝗴 podcast from Austria. And if you really like the show, well, hit the subscribe button and leave also a comment there, and talk to you soon. And now let's have fun with the rest of the show.
For anyone, especially if you're, in a leadership role, an entrepreneur, and just anyone who feels like they're constantly on and trying to make it all work.
Right. So that constant pressure and that desire for clarity becomes even more important. It's not just a nice to have, it's essential.
Totally. And that's why I wanted to take a look at this episode from the 𝗶𝗶𝗴𝗴𝗏 podcast. It's by Markus Spenger.
Markus Spenger, yeah.
Yeah. And in it, he talks about this idea of understanding your why. And what I love about Markus is he's really talking to people like you, our listeners, those high performers, leaders, entrepreneurs, that 25 to 55 demographic.
Yeah. People who are looking for, ways to actually apply these ideas, to get inspired, and to see real change.
Exactly. So think of this deep dive as like your shortcut to his insights. Today, we're going to focus on a few key things. First, how he defines your why, and it goes beyond just what society tells us. Then, we'll get into this cool concept of your life's potential title. And finally, we'll look at how all of this connects back to the goals we set for ourselves. So to kick things off, Markus starts with this powerful question.
Oh, here it comes.
It's, kennst du dein Warum? Which means, do you know your why? And he really emphasizes how important this question is.
Yeah, and what's interesting is even though it seems simple, the answer often isn't so clear-cut, even for people who are like super driven and accomplished.
Right.
Like Markus points out this thing about the Western world and how we often define our why by these external milestones. Like it's almost pre-programmed into us.
Like a script we're all following.
Exactly.
So, first it's do well in school to make your parents happy. Then it's get that great job, maybe get married, buy a house, have kids. And those things become our why without us ever really stopping to ask if that's what we really want deep down.
Yeah. Have you ever felt that, as our listener, like that pressure to follow a certain path just because it's what's expected, even if it doesn't light you up inside?
Oh, totally. It's like we're all checking off boxes on someone else's to-do list.
Totally. So then Markus goes on to introduce these two core drivers of our actions, love and fear.
Love and fear, okay.
Right. And such a brilliant way to frame it. He describes love as those actions that we take out of pure joy because they feel meaningful, because they have intrinsic value to us.
Okay, so that's the good stuff. What about fear? What does he say about that?
Right. So fear is like the flip side. It's about acting to avoid pain, to resist change. And often it's driven by real responsibilities like debt, or taking care of family, or that fear of uncertainty. It's about moving away from something we don't want rather than towards something we desire.
Okay, so think about it, just in the past week. Think about some of the bigger decisions you made. Were they driven more by that pull towards something positive or that push away from something you wanted to avoid?
Yeah, really think about that. Because that simple reflection can reveal a lot about what's motivating you right now.
It's a good exercise. All right, so we've talked about external pressures, those core motivators. Now Markus throws out this really interesting idea about crafting what he calls your life's title.
Yeah, it's such a cool way to think about it. His question is, what could be the title of your life's book?
What could be the title of your life's book? That is really interesting.
Right, and it forces you to step back from the everyday chaos and consider the bigger picture. Like what's the overarching narrative, the central theme that defines your journey? And you know what else he suggests? This exercise where you try to find the red thread in your life, starting from childhood, maybe around age 3, all the way to the present.
Okay, I like that.
The idea is that by looking back, you can see these consistent patterns, interests, and tendencies that have been there all along, shaping your choices.
The things that connect all the dots.
Exactly. Imagine pulling a single colored thread through all the key moments and interests in your life, from your earliest memories. What color or texture emerges? That recurring theme can often point you towards deeper, more authentic aspects of your why.
Okay, so we're weaving a tapestry here. Okay, so we're starting to see the bigger picture. And Markus also mentions, identifying your core values as another really important way to uncover your why. He actually talks more about this in his masterclass. But basically, it's about recognizing those fundamental principles, those things that are non-negotiable for you.
Yeah, it's like your internal compass. When your actions consistently align with those values, you're much more likely to feel that sense of purpose and fulfillment. When they don't, that's when you might start to feel that unease, that lack of direction.
And it's okay to have different titles for different chapters of your life, right? Markus acknowledges that. It's not about sticking to one rigid label, but about recognizing that your journey evolves.
Exactly. Life is dynamic. Our why can change as we learn, grow, and have new experiences. Allowing for that flexibility is key to understanding our own evolving sense of purpose.
All right, so let's talk about goals. We hear so much about setting goals and crushing them as the path to success.
All the time.
Yeah. And Markus definitely acknowledges the benefits of that. How goals provide focus, they give us something tangible to work towards, they help us track our progress. He even mentions the SMART method as a way to define goals effectively.
Absolutely. That structure can be so helpful. It gives you a roadmap, a way to measure how far you've come, which can be incredibly motivating.
Okay, but here's where things get really interesting. Markus also points out some potential downsides to goals, and it's something that I think a lot of people don't talk about enough. He says that we often attach these huge external expectations to our goals. Like, we think achieving them will make us feel better, more validated, or gain us approval.
Right, like external success will magically fill that internal void.
Exactly. And what Markus points out is that the emotional payoff after hitting a big goal can be really short-lived. Like, he uses the example of a marathon runner.
Oh yeah, the marathon runner.
Right. You train for months, you push yourself to the limit in the race, and then sometimes there's this huge letdown afterwards. He even mentions studies that compare the physical stress of running a marathon to chemotherapy.
It's crazy to think about. But it really highlights the toll that pursuing a goal can take, both physically and emotionally. And it makes you wonder, was it really driven by your why, or was it something else?
Right. So the big question is, how do we bridge that gap? How do our goals and our why connect in a way that feels truly meaningful? And this is where Markus talks about the importance of considering whether the path to your goal aligns with your core values.
Yeah, the journey is just as important as the destination.
Absolutely. And he emphasizes the importance of really thinking about what you want to experience along the way. Like, what do you want to see, hear, and feel as you're working towards your goal?
He calls it building the bridge, right?
Building the bridge. I love that. It's about making sure that the day-to-day actions and experiences, as you're pursuing that goal, actually align with your deeper why. Because if the process feels like a constant battle, if it clashes with what you truly value, then even reaching that goal might leave you feeling empty.
It's almost like you're setting yourself up for disappointment.
Yeah.
So this brings us back to that central question. Kennst dein Warum? If you have a clear understanding of your why, you can evaluate whether your goals are truly serving that purpose.
And I think that's so important, right? So just to recap for our listeners, here are a few key takeaways from Markus's reflection. First, take the time to really define your why beyond those external pressures. Second, explore that red thread, that story that runs through your life, and identify your core values. And finally, ask yourself if your current goals are truly aligned with that deeper purpose. Pay attention to how the journey itself feels in relation to what you truly value.
And building on that, think about this. What's one small step you can take this week to actively explore if your actions and goals are fueled by what you love? Maybe it's 15 minutes of journaling or reflecting on a recent decision.
That's a great starting point. And if you're interested in exploring these ideas further, I highly recommend checking out Markus Spenger's 𝗶𝗶𝗴𝗆 podcast. It's a fantastic resource for anyone on this journey of self-discovery.
At the end of the day, the path to clarity, focus, and purpose is unique for everyone. Hopefully this deep dive has given you some helpful tools and frameworks to guide your exploration and empower you to create a life that's both meaningful and fulfilling.
Absolutely.
Ready to stop chasing and start living? Book your free clarity call at markusspenger.com or download your free clarity report to gain focus, build inner strengths, and live with direction and purpose. Because, life is too short to just function. It's time to lead from within. Be bold, be clear, be you.